This the best available seated leg press on the market. What's up, people? I'm going to show you today the cross-axis tech leg press and give you my initial impressions and review. This leg press be better than the coveted AFS? See, here's a initial view of the machine. Huge benefit with many of Henry's machines are they're super compact, very small footprint. It's a bilateral leg press with Henry's unique leverage linkage system. The cool thing is the way the back pad is angled. See how the upholstery is angled here and here? What that actually does, believe it or not, is keeps you in your seat better than a lot of other seated leg presses. Even though it doesn't have shoulder pads, from my experience so far, I haven't felt the need to use them because the way that the angle of the back pad actually keeps you in your seat. The old version Henry used to make where he adjust the seat adjusted 3 positions from back, middle, and front. Instead of that, now what he does is you can bring this up quite a bit. You limit your range of motion or increase your range of motion depending on where this rubber stopper hits. My experience so far, I always have it in the deepest position. I'll show you what that looks like.
So this is the one cross-axis tech leg press I've been waiting to get. I haven't had. I have all the other ones. So what I want you to notice is how well this sets you up to hit quads. Notice the angle of the foot plate. As I've said many times in other videos, 98% of people that make leg presses don't know how to freaking make a foot plate to actually favor the quads. It's just flat. You can see I'm just kind of playing around. The top part, because of the length of my legs, the top part really is kind of ineffective. Like I find if you keep your feet low, it's perfect. If you keep your feet towards the top, it can over-rotate your hips like almost every other leg press does. But look at the amount of knee flexion I can get. It's obviously very much a quad dominant leg press. The leverage on this is crazy good. I love the feel of the leverage on this. I love the feel of the leverage on all of his machines, but it ramps up perfectly. And you can see where the stopper is. What I will say, actually the taller you are, probably the better this leg press will fit you. If you're shorter, you may have an issue with getting enough flexion. Potentially, you may need to put some pads. I'll show you what I do. You can see I'm playing around with one leg at a time. It actually feels phenomenal one leg at a time. What you have to get used to is this bar in between your legs. But I love the way it feels, honestly, one leg at a time. And I've honestly been surprised that even with more weight, I haven't felt like catapulted out of the seat like most leg presses do. Now, the back pad does not adjust like some other leg presses, but you can adjust the depth and tension, which you can't do on several other leg presses. But hits phenomenally well one leg at a time. Now you can see here, I'm just kind of playing around. I'm using this ab mat, just playing around with the overall excursion of the machine. And I take the existing seat pad out and kind of adjust it. I've already kind of scheming exactly how I'm going to modify this. But the amount of knee flexion this puts you in is just fantastic, honestly. I'm just kind of playing around to see with my frame if using the top part of the foot plate made any difference. Now I may actually take that rubber stopper off to get an extra 2.5, 3 inches of range of motion at the bottom. We'll see. But again, look at a close-up from the side. Using this as is, and I've got an ab mat, which kind of puts me further forward and gives me even more knee flexion. Look how much knee flexion I can get. With the ab mat in there, honestly, I can make it right here. You're seeing at the end range of motion, it's hitting, the uprights are hitting the weights. Now, when I modify the strength curve, that won't even be an issue. But look at how much the excursion, and like I said, the strength curve on this is absolutely fantastic for what you want. Like traditionally, you want it heavier as you lock out where you're the strongest.
Let me show you a side-by-side comparison with the cross-axis tech leg press and the AFS leg press.
You can see versus the AFS leg press, this is the one in Mark's gym in Georgia. I barely missed out on this machine. Like the guy was selling it for like $700, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Mark kind of just barely beat me to it. But notice the difference in the foot plate. So obviously the AFS, the back pad adjusts angle. It doesn't adjust translation posterior anterior, but it does adjust angles. But look at how much better my knee flexion is than his knee flexion, and look at how. So you can see the foot plate rotates on the AFS, but it has a tendency to over rotate your hips. And the foot plate angle straight, it's in between quads and glutes, like it's just kind of in no man's land. It feels good because of the leverage and the linkage, and because the foot plate moves. But you want to hit quads. The cross axis is better.
Side to side with my lever leg press, which is kind of my version of an AFS. I think this is better than the AFS. Much smaller footprint, much more compact. And AFS, in my opinion, isn't worth near what people pay for it. It's a cool piece if you want to own vintage equipment to say you own it. But if you just want to grow your quads or grow your legs don't matter if it says AFS or lever or cross axis. They just care about tension.
You can see it side by side with the my lever leg press. You can see the lever leg press, actually, the angle, it's angled better to favor quads, even better than the AFS. But what I'd say, in its original form, the cross axis is angled probably even better than this. Obviously, you can see I've already modified my lever to make it even better, but this is kind of using both. But both machines favor knee flexion. The difference with the cross axis is the back pad does not adjust angles.
Give you a full review before long of all my seated leg presses. And this machine packs a serious punch. Say the difference between the cross axis tech and the AFS / lever leg press. Obviously, the foot plate and the lever in the AFS self aligns, so the foot plate moves independently of the movement arm, which it's fused to the movement arm on the cross axis tech. What that means is you can get away with not being in optimal position when you're on the AFS lever, but you have to make sure your body's in optimal position to maximize knee flexion when you're in a leg press where the foot plate moves with and or fixed with the movement arm. Not a big deal, but you just have to make sure you're in the right position. No, in my head, right off the top of my head, any other leg press machines on the market, in their original form, before I've tweaked them, that hit the quads as well. You can see the main reason is he's nailed the foot plate angle. That's all freaking quad. Instead of the AFS, and even Tyler's original, it's not straight. So you're favoring knee flexion from the get-go. The main downside, I would say, there's two downsides in my opinion, is you have to get used to this cross member bar in your crotch area. So it's just kind of weird at first. Obviously, once you use it enough and get used to it, it's not a big deal. But obviously you got in between your legs, you got a main cross member, that's in there. So sometimes you can kind of play with your mind a little as far as being in the area of your crotch. The other thing I'll say, you can already see I've been taking the seat pad out. You're going to see I'm going to modify this, but this, if his seat pad was shorter, it needs to be a little shorter. I mean, use it as is, it's phenomenal, but what I'm going to do to modify it, this is too long. So I'm actually going to either try to customize this and make it shorter, or just when I take this out and use just any other pillow, it works. This may be my favorite of Henry's pieces in its original form. Now, obviously, I've modified actually every cross-axis tech. I'm in the middle of modifying my glute press and my vertical leg press. I think I've modified every other, and I'm actually modifying his prone leg, current leg extension next time the welder comes too. But in its original form, this may be Henry's best machine in my opinion. Absolutely own this machine in its original form. And you guys know how picky I am with gym equipment. It's a 9.5 out of 10 in my opinion in its original form. And again, if you have an AFS, that's cool, but this is just as good, honestly. And I actually prefer the leverage. The leverage ramps up perfectly. Now, when the strength towards alter is going to be way better, because as you come up and come up, it keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up to, full extension of the knees. And obviously, as opposed to the hip press, you're going to use this for quads. The hip press, with Tyler's new one, you can technically make it a glute, adductor, and or quad with the foot plate that he's kind of copying me on, which is a phenomenal idea, which I did on my Gymmical, and I've done on many other leg presses. But you're not going to be able to really use this machine for glutes or adductors. You'll get a little accessory, but it's just a quad killer. You're going to want to stay tuned to see what I do to this machine, what I do to the cross-axis tech glute press, and what I do to the cross-axis tech vertical leg press, because they are 3 elite machines already. They're going to be another level of awesomeness very, very soon. Like, comment, subscribe below. Have an amazing day.